Mozilla is launching a paid Thunderbird email service, which, quote, aligns with their values, end quote. Huh. What are Mozilla's values, pray tell? Well, there's the deplatforming of conservatives. That's one of their values. They're big on AI-generated content now. That's another value they've got. They like to be able to take your data and use it however they want. Remember, that's one of their new values. And of course, my all-time favorite, the Feminist, Decolonial, LGBTQIA plus Climate Justice using artificial intelligence. That apparently is another one of their values. Well, they're going to take all those values and they're going to bundle it into a paid email scheduling and artificial intelligence service, which somehow will save their company or something. Now, those of you who follow Mozilla, you know they have two base products, right? They've got Firefox, their web browser. They've been pinning all their hopes on Firefox for years. They've been trying to use that to generate as many sources of revenue as they can, spying on people, AI, advertising, whatever. And they also have the email client, Thunderbird. And Thunderbird isn't as big of a name as Firefox, but it has a pretty hefty and dedicated user base. I used to use Thunderbird. It's a good email client, as in a general rule of thumb. And so now Mozilla really wants to find a way to monetize that email client. This announcement from March 28th, about 4 or 5 days ago, quote, this is from the head of Mozilla Thunderbird. Some of you may have already heard and seen some of this work, but it's time to shine some light on efforts to expand Thunderbird's offerings with what we are calling Thunderbird Pro services and Thundermail. Not a bad name. I like, as far as email, service names go, Thundermail, it ain't so bad. These are web services that enhance the experience of using Thunderbird, meaning they're going to be integrated into Thunderbird, the email client. All open source, very good, and built to serve the needs of our users. Well, that's a stupid statement. Every service is built to serve the needs of their users in theory, plus other stuff. The why for offering these services is simple, because you want to make money. Obviously, come on. But I continue. Thunderbird loses users each day to rich ecosystems that are both clients and services, such as Gmail and Office 365. These ecosystems have both hard vendor lock-ins through interoperability issues with third-party clients and soft lock-ins through convenience and integration between their clients and services. It is our goal to eventually have a similar offering so that a 100% open source, freedom-respecting alternative ecosystem is available for those who want it. Right, so they want to make it so Thunderbird, the email client for desktop computers and for mobile devices, has soft and possibly hard vendor lock-in to Mozilla services that have a paid aspect so they can earn revenue. It's straightforward. I mean, what they're proposing here is not entirely unexpected. Now, I'm about to give them a very hard time, but let's very briefly go over exactly what services they're proposing here. First, they're gonna announce Thunderbird Appointment, which is a scheduling tool. Okay, great. Google Calendar, whatever. It's a scheduling tool. Thunderbird Send. Now, Thunderbird Send is a file sharing tool. So it's a thing you upload a file to it and send someone a link and they can use it to download that file, right? It's a file sharing tool. Now, I want to read the first sentence here because I like one of the references. Quote, Thunderbird Send is the rebirth of Firefox Send. Well, kind of. At this point, we have a bit of a ship of Theseus situation here, having rebuilt much of the project to allow for more direct methods of file sharing. Okay, now the service is fine. All right, I'll put that off to the side, but I do like that they made a good ship of Theseus reference. If those of you don't know the ship of Theseus, the idea is this. If you have a ship, right, a big boat that you're sailing around, let's say the ship of Theseus, and over time, you replace parts of that ship. Replace the sail one time, and the mast, and some of the deck planks, and some of the windows, even the toilet seat. And eventually, years down the line, there's none of the original parts left on the ship. You've replaced all of the parts, one little bit at a time. At what point does it become another ship? Right? Is it still the ship of Theseus? Is it still the same ship? Or is it now a new ship? And at what point did it change? I like a good ship of Theseus reference, so I'm going to give a hat tip to the Thunderbird and Mozilla folks for making a reference that made me smile. Now back to giving them a very hard time. They're also going to be releasing Thunderbird Assist, an AI system. That's right. If you wanted an AI assistant built into your email client, your open source Thunderbird email client, boy, are you in luck. Assistant is an experiment. It's just an AI assistant that through a partnership with Flower AI will allow users to take advantage of AI features. Okay, so it's a remote processing AI system. And Flower AI is an AI company that Mozilla has invested heavily into. So Mozilla has a financial interest in seeing this company succeed, so they get a good return on their investment. So what do? They're tying those services, boom, into some of their own clients. It's real straightforward. This isn't something that doesn't happen every day, but that's why they're using that AI system and not, some other open source tool. And then there is the email service, Thundermail. Thundermail is an email service. We want to provide email accounts to those that love Thunderbird. And we believe that we are capable of providing a better service than the other providers out there and here's the really important part, that aligns with our values, end quote. Interesting. They want to say the email domain for Thundermail will be thundermail.com or TB Pro. And if you go to thundermail.com, you can see a little join the wish list, wait list for these paid services. That aligns with our values. That really stuck with me. That stuck with me there. And then they go on, and I'm going to touch on this briefly. Or I'm going to read this briefly. They talk about why this is going to be a paid service. Something you may be thinking, this all sounds expensive. How will Thunderbird be able to pay for it? And that's a great question. Services such as Send are actually quite expensive. Storage is costly. So here is the plan. At the beginning, we plan to offer these services for free to consistent community contributors. Other users will have to pay for access. Once we have a strong enough user base that the services appear to be sustainable, we will open up free tiers with limitations such as less storage or the like. Okay, this is pretty run of the mill, right? This is like Gmail, right? You can sign up for a free Gmail account, but if you want more storage, you want more features, you pay for a more pro workbenchy blah 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 type system. Okay, that's fine. They're basically building out a paid email service system that's not unlike what Microsoft, Google, and so many other companies provide. So let's talk a little bit about the corporate structure here, because I think this is going to be a very, very critical piece. As the Thunderbird team announced Thundermail, they made a big point of saying how Thunderbird and their new Thundermail system is totally separate from Mozilla. If you troll through their posts on Mastodon and other forums and such, they will repeat over and over again how totally separate they are from all of Mozilla, and they can do whatever they want because they're totally separate from Mozilla. But here's the thing. It's a load of hogwash. I'm going to walk you through with this because this is very clear that the organization that controls Thunderbird is the Mozilla Foundation. This quote from the Thunderbird blog from back in 2020, when Thunderbird became officially its own corporation. As of today, the Thunderbird project will be operating from a new, wholly owned subsidiary of the Mozilla Foundation, known as MZLA Technologies Corporation. Okay, so Thunderbird, it is true, Thunderbird does not exist inside of the same corporation as Firefox, right? The email client and the web browser, totally different corporations. Mozilla Corporation has Firefox, MZLA Technologies Corporation, MZLA, Mozilla, MZLA Technologies Corporation has Thunderbird. Totally separate, right? Except here's the thing. All of them are 100% owned, 100% by the Mozilla Foundation. And the board of directors of MZLA Technologies Corp., which runs Thunderbird, consists of 3 people: Brian Behlendorf, Angela Plowman, and Mark Sermon, right? 3 individuals. Those 3 individuals are a key part of the Mozilla Foundation. In fact, 2 of them are the executive team of the Mozilla Foundation, Mark Sermon and Angela Plowman, with Brian Behlendorf also being on the board of directors of the Mozilla Foundation themselves, which means that Thunderbird is 100% controlled in every possible way you can look at it by the Mozilla Foundation. 100%. The exact same people control it and run it. The board of directors is 3 people. They are all part of the Mozilla Foundation. And those people also therein control the Mozilla Corporation, which controls Firefox. It's all the same. Yes, there are several different entities inside Mozilla. Their structure is bizarre, but it all leads into Mozilla Foundation. And to coordinate all this, they created earlier this year something they call the Mozilla Leadership Council, which includes the lead of all of their different sub-corporations, which they own in entirety. Mozilla.ai, their AI system, Mozilla Corporation for Firefox, Mozilla Ventures, Mozilla Foundation, and Mozilla MZLA Technologies or Thunderbird. And all of them are together underneath the foundation, and they all work together to, quote, coordinate work across our organizations, end quote. And things inside of Mozilla have been utterly chaotic over the last few months. Just total chaos. We're on the 3rd round of layoffs in the last year-ish, with more looming on the horizon. They kicked out one of their founders just a few weeks back. They appointed multiple Democrat operatives, people who, worked for the Biden and Obama White House, people who were executives at the Democratic National Committee and the like, to be their new board chairmen and chairwoman of their various organizations. It's been chaos. And with the looming potential loss of over 80% of their revenue, over 80% of their revenue is looking to go away in the coming months. Google is very likely not going to win any sort of appeal in the current antitrust case that they just seem to be losing at every step of the way. If they can't win an appeal, Google, they will no longer be able to pay Mozilla for prominent search engine placement of Google search engine within Firefox. That accounts for over 80% of Mozilla's revenue. If that goes away, the layoffs that they've had so far are going to seem like peanuts compared to what they're going to have to do just months from now. And that's not the only loss of revenue that Mozilla is facing right now. They've gotten caught up in all the USAID cuts as well. We talked about this, but they've lost millions already because of multiple different cuts around taxpayer revenue, taxpayer income that they were getting over the last few years. And by the way, spending those tax funds on very weird things, such as social and political training, centering of marginalized groups, and my favorite, engaging race, gender, sexuality perspectives. Don't know what that is, but Mozilla spent millions of your taxpayer dollars on it. So what are we looking at really right here? What's really happening? Well, it's very clear. Mozilla is desperate for new revenue sources, and you can see why. I mean, they've already lost a bunch, right? They've lost millions. They're facing the loss of hundreds of millions in the months ahead, potentially having to do mass layoffs of 80% or more of their staff across all of their organizations, all those sub corporations they own, massive cuts across the board. That's what they're facing. Unless they can come up with ways to generate more revenue, a lot more revenue, and fast. You see this with all of the new services and all of the changes to Firefox and Thunderbird and all of their terms of use. They're trying everything they can to bring in more income. So they come up with a way to finally really monetize Thunderbird outside of just user donations and the like. They've come up with a way to tie in email, scheduling, and AI services. And there's a whole lot of synergy going on there because the AI services are actually going to be using a company that they also invest in, so they could see some revenue returns on that. It could be great, right? In terms of generating revenue. So they're going to have free and paid services, and they're going to try their goal. Their stated goal is lock-in, right? Soft lock-in and hard lock-in. That's their goal. They've got to get to that point. And all of this is 100% board controlled by Mozilla Foundation, right? All of it. Everything that the Thunderbird team does has to be okay with the Mozilla Foundation because they control the board 100%. The Thunderbird, as long as the Thunderbird team is doing what the board wants, that's fine. But the Mozilla board has already been pushing Firefox in a direction that is, well, let's say not exactly privacy respecting. And the last little bit there, the last little thing I want to touch on is I want to circle back to that whole aligns with our values bit. Because they've made it very clear that they want these services, the Thundermail services and Thunderbird Pro, to align with Mozilla values. What are Mozilla values? Well, Mozilla declared that if you have data, it's theirs to do with as they please. If you quote, when you upload or input information through Firefox, you hereby grant a non-exclusive royalty-free worldwide license to use that information to Mozilla. That is a Mozilla value. They also host their Feminist, Decolonial, LGBTQIA+ Climate Justice using AI events. Their pro-Marxism, anti-capitalist events. That's another set of values. Do I understand those values are? No, not really. But those are their values. And here's one that really causes me to tilt my head to the side. If they're providing a communication service, a paid email service, how does that tie into this value? Quote, we need more than deplatforming, end quote. And what they're talking about there, that's a quote from a little over 4 years ago. That's a quote from a little over 4 years ago from the executive director then of the Mozilla Foundation, and stating what became one of their core mission statements. One of the core corporate goals of the Mozilla Foundation Corporation was to do more than deplatforming of people who support President Donald Trump, or support the actions of Donald Trump, or Donald Trump himself. Essentially, if you're a conservative or a Republican, or just someone who's kind of maybe just a little right of center, Mozilla had the goal of deplatforming you. And what does that mean? That means taking you off the internet, right? Because deplatforming is making it so you're not on certain sites, right? So you've been deplatformed. You can't be on Twitter anymore. You can't be on that email service. More than deplatforming is removing you from the entire internet, right? That's the next step. And that's a core value of Mozilla, is mass censorship of those who are their political rivals. And of course, Mozilla has stated this last year that they are betting that the future of the internet is AI generated content. They've been investing in website builders, all from artificial intelligence. They hold an AI awards banquet. They held it this last year in Dublin, Ireland. All about AI, right? They spend more money showcasing artificial intelligence and investing in artificial intelligence than almost anything. They have a whole awards banquet just for diverse LGBTQ artificial intelligence. It's very bizarre. But those are all things that are core values for Mozilla. More than deplatforming a conservative, whatever that climate justice using AI thing is, AI generated content, and using your data however they want. who chooses an email service with those as the core values? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there. If the team behind Thundermail and Thunderbird Pro and all these services and the Mozilla Foundation would like to come out and distance themselves from these values and say how they do not believe in those things anymore, I would gladly shout that from the rooftops and tell all of you. I don't think they'll do that. They're going to try and do their best to either smear me for saying these bad things about them, I'm so naughty, or they're going to try and ignore me entirely and ignore the criticisms that they're getting about these, their core values, and how clearly these core values do not align with running an email service. I would not trust an email service. This is far, far beyond any of the email services that I would already not trust. You know what I mean? I can think of all sorts of ways that I can criticize Google's Gmail and so many other services that are out there because of their privacy issues and security issues and core values issues. But this is so far beyond any of that. And once again, and this is very critical here, MZLA Technologies Corporation is wholly owned by and 100% controlled by the Mozilla Foundation. And that cannot be denied. So what the Mozilla Foundation wants, Thunderbird will do. If the leadership of Mozilla Foundation would like to prove me wrong on this somehow, I invite you gladly to come on my show. Talk to me about it and walk me through how your organization surely is not set up like you say it is set up, according to your website. I invite you to do so. Thank you to all of the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making it possible to do the work at the Lunduke Journal, because I guarantee you no other tech news outlet is going to cover all of these details. Guarantee it. Not one tech news outlet is going to cover these things. Anyone who's going to talk about the Thunderbird email service, they're going to be like, "Ooh, I'm going to repeat the press release and talk about how it's great because it's gone open source," and then they're going to move right along. They're going to skim over all of the shady stuff, and there's a lot of shady stuff here. So thank you to all of the subscribers who make it possible for me to do this work. Go to lunduke.com and click on some links over there. Pick some links. Go to lunduke.com and click on 3 links, whichever links you want to click on. Every little bit helps. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.